say if this happened to you? You'd hang your head in shame, you'd run away and disappear. You'd never show your face again. But you don't hear what you're saying, you don't see what it reveals. Your lack of self-awareness shows the weakness that you conceal. You think shame is something you can hand me, like a weight I have to bear. But you don't know the road I've walked, or the battles waiting there. You don't know the nights I've conquered, you don't know the tears I've cried. You only see the person standing, you never saw the battles inside. This is resilience, this is the fire that remains. This is a heart that kept on beating through unimaginable pain. I have carried what no parent should ever have to know. I buried part of my own heart and still found the strength to grow. So say what you want, let the whispers remain. I'll survive what breaks most people. You can't make me wear your shame. You thought my scars meant I was broken, you thought my tears meant I was weak, but you never saw the courage it took to rise each week. You thought I'd fade into the silence, you thought I'd surrender my voice. But every morning that I rise again is a reminder of my choice. Because strength is not the absence of the pain that you've been through. Strength is carrying the pieces and still finding something true. This is resilience, this is the strength you can't erase. This is the light that keeps on shining when darkness fills the space. I have walked through fire and darkness, I have faced the parents' greatest fear, but the love that lives forever is the reason I am here. So bring your mind game, bring your mind game, bring every word you say, every word you say. They are smaller than the mountains I have climbed along the way. You thought if I stayed I was broken, you thought leaving was the only way. But you never knew the courage it took to face another day. You wanted me to carry shame, wanted me to hide, but I have already survived the storm that changed my entire life. This is resilience, not just a word, it's who I am. It's every scar and every tear. Every time I chose to stand, I lost a piece of my own heart, but I never lost my soul. The pain became a part of me, but it never took control. You can talk, you can judge, you can smile and read my name, but I am still here. I am still standing, and I will not leave. This is resilience, this is my story, this is my strength. Still breathing, still loving, still rising, still rising. You wake up and search for me before you even brush your teeth. You know my family, know my friends, or at least the story that you pieced. You dig through years and dig some more, looking for a crack beneath the door. You call it research, call it truth, but all you've ever found is what you choose. You collect pieces, twist them round, build a story from what you found. You take a little and a lot, then swear that fiction is the truth you've got. family, you think you know my fans. You take the things you think you've learned and bend them to your ends. You were digging through the internet, through every word and every year. You collect a little piece of me and turn it into something I never was or did. You take a fact, dash a fiction, repeat it till it sounds like truth, then pass it around from voice to voice like that's what evidence can do. You talk about my family, you talk about my life. You even try to reach the places built from love after my child died. You crossed the line I never knew a person could cross and still defend. They turn another piece of my life into a story for your audience again. You say I'm the one who's obsessed, but who keeps searching, who keeps digging, who keeps finding something new to make me the subject of the day. You need my name, oh, you need my name, yeah. You need my name. You put it in your title just to make somebody say. You say you can't stand me, then you watch me every day. If I disappear tomorrow, what would you have left to say? You need my name, yeah, you need my name. So without my shadow, you don't get to take the stage. You can call it hate, you can dress it up in shade, but everybody knows you need my name. Oh, oh, oh. There she goes again. Oh, another story, another lie. There she goes again. Oh, another version of my life. Take a little truth, add a little fiction, build a whole new person from your own imagination. You say I'm not successful while you build your whole career on watching every move I make and talking about me year after year. You say nobody likes me while the people that I love keep showing up beside me when the noise gets loud enough. You hate that I keep going, you hate that I still create, you hate that I still have a thing. Shouts at people who can see straight. You wanted me to disappear, you wanted me alone, but every time you try to bury me, I go another home. You don't know me, you know the one he made, the one you built from pieces. I'm the same when the noise gets loud enough. You hate that I keep going, you hate that I still create, you hate that after everything I still have people who can see straight. You wanted me to disappear, you wanted me alone, but every time you try to bury me, I grow another hole. You know me, yeah. You know me, yeah. You put it in your title just to make somebody slow. You say you can't stand me, then you watch me every day. If I disappear tomorrow, what would you have left to say? You need my name, yeah, you need my name. You built your little kingdom in the shadow of my flame. You can lie, you can twist, you can call me every name, but you wouldn't have a story if you didn't have my name. Oh, there she goes again, still living in my shadow. Oh, oh, you twist, you can call me every name. You wouldn't have my name.
Hello. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let me see. Hello, Jen Grill. Okay, hang on a second. Let me just make sure that there. Okay. Look at this thing that I got. It's so cool. I'm gonna have a video on it, but let me make sure you can hear me. Let me make sure you can hear me. Because if you can't, we're stuck. Real good. So remember I told you that Shark Ninja? I wish I had this. Well, I did have it. It was in my bag. I didn't know. I would have had to charge it anyway. But I'm telling you, when we walked a long way, we didn't take any subways. We took the train into Penn Station, and we walked. So they were like 28-minute walks, okay, because we like to walk, get our steps in and all that stuff. So, but it was humid. It was really humid, and it was, the air was heavy because of it was raining on and off. And when we got to Chelsea, Pier 57, we got there way ahead of time because they told us to get there early. They told us to get there at 1:30. And we got there at like 12:30, maybe even a little earlier. So then we walked around. But I remember I sat down at a table and I said to Jimmy, my gosh, because I sweat a lot. I always do. And my kids are like me, like Ethan and Luke. Like Jimmy like hardly ever sweats. But I think, and even Michael and Alexandra and Ray, like you do some exertion and You sweat. Like when you work out, you sweat. But really, Jimmy doesn't sweat. It's crazy. He says he does sometimes, but he doesn't. Anyway, so I sit down and I said, oh my gosh, my face. And then I get this. I don't know if you guys get this. Like, say you're bike riding or you're spinning or you're on a treadmill, whatever. You're doing a bunch of exercise. You don't feel anything like in your face or anything until you stop. When you stop, it's when I stop that all of a sudden all this heat just goes like flying, especially to my face. I feel like my face gets so red, and then oh my gosh, then you just start to sweat like crazy. So when we got in, I sat down and I said, oh my gosh, I don't want to look like, Jimmy says, you don't look like you're sweating. That's what he tells me. You don't look like you're sweating. I said, it doesn't look like my face is like just dripping. He says, no. So I said, get me a towel or something. I just wanted to see something, a napkin, a towel. And, but I wish I had this. It's a long story short that now I will have this. This is called the Chill Pill by Shark Ninja. And they gave these to us. Mine's rose gold. I wonder if ever I have to look. Oh, and I found myself in this really cute Instagram video from the YouTube executive. I told you the one is really super nice, and she looks like an actress, and she wants to have. She goes, I want to do what you guys do. And so she started this Instagram, and I saw her when she was coming around. We were at the table, and then she sat with us with the table, and she took a video of us. So she put it up. It was really cool to be in that, Okay, let me do this. So I'll show you a video on this, but it's really cool. So this is a portable fan, right? And so that's at 1 now. Then you can watch this. It'll go up to that's 6. That's 6. Watch. That's 8. I look like I'm in one of those commercials. Okay, that's 9. That's 10. And it's like, it'll last like 11 hours or something on the charge. But wait, it does so much more. Okay? That's nice, right? To dry you up. You dry your face up if you just walked in off the city and you feel sweaty, right? Okay. But watch this. Watch this. Okay, you take, hold on, let me move it like this. Take this part out, that's your turbine, okay, and you put this in there. Hold on a sec. Okay, that goes in. Then you see how that opens there? Okay, then you press this again. And now there's a little teardrop. Now watch this. Now this is, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, yeah, you can. Look, see the mist? Can you see the mist? That's just a very low mist. It's a cool mist, and it doesn't make you, it's like a weird dry mist. It's crazy. And you can make it, can you see it? You can make it go more intense. So you have that, like you can cool down, but wait, there's more. There's more. Hold on. Okay. So after you have that, you take that out. This is the really great thing. Okay, so it's this, it's like this cool piece of metal, right? You put it on here. It'll have it has like a snowflake, okay? And then it will cool you down. I think it says like 16 degrees. Oh, it's cold. but it'll cool you down. It brings your body temperature down. Like immediately you can put it on the back of your neck if you're really, really hot, or on your forehead. And it's really, it cools you down like crazy. So if you're really, really hot, or if you're having like a hot flash or something, you can cool yourself down with that like crazy. And it'll get colder. It's really cold to the touch. They have people on an airplane, they're like sitting like this, and they're just bringing their body temperature down. And so pretty cool stuff. And then it's really cool because when you put your fan back on, just this one, you turn this around so then your fan can go in any which way you want. You can put it like this, so I can put it let me do this. You know, if I wanted to put it like that. And that's like, what is that, 7? That's not even the, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, we can do a product placement for this because we showed it here. We can do a product placement. Okay, wasn't even thinking about that. All right, I thought I'd show you that to show you that I have some videos going on it, but I love it. Okay, let's see. That's great to prevent heat stroke. Yeah. What's disgusting? It's called the Shark Chill Pill. It's a chill pill, and it comes in a whole bunch of different colors. I got rose gold. I don't know if everybody got different colors. I got rose gold, which I really like. Comes in a bunch of different colors. Let's see. I wonder if I can tag the thing right now. I think we're supposed to be able to tag a live video. Yeah, I think we're supposed to be able to tag live videos. Thought we were. You said we are. Maybe I have to go into the other thing over here. Stream settings. Let me see something. I don't know. I think there's a way to do it, but I can't right now. Hold on, I can't even. I have to make this larger so I can see what you guys are saying. Yes, I do. I'll put a link in. Debbie, just wait till I put the link in, okay? I do get credit. I do. Yes, I do get credit. So please, when I think I have to tag this. I thought I could tag it when it's live, but I'll tag it and I'm going to put up a short video about it. So yeah, wait till I put the link in because I do get credit. Okay. Let's see. I am working with Shark Ninja. I'm working with YouTube too. That's why I went to that thing, Jen, because I'm in there YouTube shopping. Jen is so funny. I love that girl. Okay, yeah, the heat's 115. What heat is 115? Where's the heat 115? Not here. I feel better than I have in you. Okay. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about who watched Lindsay Clancy trial today. Linda and I were in the Zoom watching it. And remember, if you remember, you could have come in on that Zoom. The Zoom was still open from last night. And I apologize. Last night, I didn't realize when I went onto my iPad, I didn't realize that I didn't go on mute. You guys should have told me, because I was like talking to Luke and stuff. It must have been hell annoying. And next time, just be like, Carolyn, you're not on mute. I was walking upstairs. I was like, Luke, what are you doing? Brushing your teeth? It's 2 a.m. He's like, Mom, it's 1 a.m. And I'm like, still. And then it was crazy. Next time, tell me. And then when I guess I brought stuff in the bedroom, I was ruffling things around, and I didn't even know how you guys were watching that. And I fell asleep. I didn't make it through there. And I kept waking up, and it felt like it was still on. I don't know. It could have just been that I only fell asleep for a split second, but I fell asleep, and it was still on and still on and still on. I said, it seemed pretty good, like there was a lot of information there, but I just could not make it through that. I did not make it through that. And then something else started playing, and then I started having dreams or whatever. And then I'm like, I don't know. I don't even think Linda made it through either, because, yeah, I don't know. But nobody said to me that you're not on mute. That would have been hell annoying to me. If I was watching a movie and someone was talking and everything, I would have been pissed. I'd be like, you're not on mute. Okay. Who was snoring? No, I don't think so. No. Because you take trazodone? Keeps you awake? I don't take anything for sleep. That scares me. Wouldn't even take melatonin. Scares the crap out of me. It was really good. When did you come in on it? Because you weren't in. Okay, let me see. When I went upstairs, there was Linda, me. There was somebody. Wait, hold on a minute. There was Linda, me, Hart. Linda, me, Hart. Then I think Jen Grill came in. Linda, me, Hart, Jen Grill. That was it. Right, Jen? Wasn't that it? Linda, me, Hart, Jen Grill. I only saw 4 people. And then this morning it was just Linda and I. And I think Linda was asleep. And then Linda fell off. And then she came back and I had the trial on. The Villages. Oh, well. You came in an hour late? Yeah, I must have been already passed out then. All right, so today, all the first responders, I shouldn't say all the first responders because I don't know, there's probably many more. Tomorrow, they're going on a field trip. Tomorrow, as long as the weather, I guess, is okay and it's not flooding, they're taking the jury on a, I was going to mention that it was your Shih Tzu snoring. I was afraid you think it was me. Oh, I didn't even know you have a Shih Tzu, but I didn't hear it, Debbie, because I conked out long before that. I didn't even hear you come in. Anyway, They're going to go on a field trip to go see the house. They're going to get out at Duxbury. They're going to go to the house. I guess they're going inside too. It's kind of strange, but I think an attorney owns it, so they're going to let them go inside. So they'll be able to go around the back and see the window and all of that. And you know what was, did you hear the thing the first responders said? In all the reports I've ever heard, when they talk about Patrick running into the basement, and when he says, she killed the kids, right? I have never once, until today, from two first responders, heard them say, she killed the effing kids, right? We've always heard it as she killed the kids. But the first responders said, Patrick said she killed the effing kids. And then I thought, well, did he say she effing killed the kids? But yeah, it is another owner. The owner of the house is mad about the visit. Well, I mean, if they were so mad, they wouldn't, I mean, nobody could force them to do it, right? I believe it's a lawyer that owns that house now that, is that, Scooter, did you hear that as well? I never heard in all the reports before that we've covered, it was, they would say that he said she killed the kids. But the first responders both said that. So, so they showed first responders from fire, from EMT, from the police, people in the chat, and some of them were going crazy. Some of them were saying this is redundant. Why are they doing this? What is the prosecutor doing? Why is she doing this? Why is she doing this? I can't stand this. I can't stand this. She's doing it. So, you know, they said that they're ahead of schedule. They let the jury go early again today. They said they're ahead of schedule. I think they're ahead of schedule. You want to know why? Because the defense is not doing any cross-examination. The only cross-examination the defense has done has been with Patrick. Okay? Basically, he gets up and says, thank you for your service. Thank you. No questions. Because he doesn't want to belabor what he says is completely redundant. If he got up every time and was going through and cross-examining these witnesses, then the prosecution would be like, whoa, I thought you said these witnesses weren't even needed. How come you're cross-examining like crazy now, right? So, yeah, I'm not sure I would feel comfortable living there in New York. There is a disclosure clause to tell wires of murder. I'm not sure I would feel comfortable living there. In New York, there is a disclosure clause. Oh, yes. Yes, there is a disclosure clause. To tell buyers of murder happening in a home for sale. It's more than just like murder. It's yeah. It's also someone taking their life and things like that. Yeah. Well, no, which poor man? Patrick wasn't on. Which poor man? This was the first responders today, Scooter. Or you're saying that because what they said about what he said? I'm just saying I didn't hear that, but you know, does anybody think Patrick is extremely thin? He's so thin. He looks like Ben Stiller's little brother, but he's so thin. I feel like somebody needs to feed him a little bit. Like his shoulders are like this big. But he was like that even before when they showed him picking up the stuff. But the thing that gets me is he doesn't look tall and he looks very thin. And yet when he was posing with the new wife, she was like, remember that picture I showed you where they were running the marathon? And she was like at his waist. And I said, is this guy like 6'6"? I can't even, like, I said to Ethan, I looked and I said, look at this guy. Isn't he extremely thin? Like, I don't even know how he gets the shirt to fit, right? Doesn't he look extremely thin? But he was always that way. You could say it's like from the tragedy and maybe losing his kids and all of that. And he's running marathons with the new wife. They're running marathons together. It's just the way he is. But yes, he's no, he was always thin, Scooter. Look at when he walked into that restaurant. He was always thin. It's his body type. He's very, very thin. He's very, very thin and very compact. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have like broad shoulders or stuff like that. He's very thin, and it makes, and then you just feel like saying, oh my gosh, you poor little thing. I mean, it really makes you feel like this guy, like you said, is traumatized, but he did look like that even when he was picking up the food. He lives a very healthy lifestyle as what we hear. Yes, he runs a lot, he skis, he's active, he plays a lot of different instruments. But it just makes you, like you can see the stress in him, right? Of course he's traumatized, Scooter. Yeah, right? We expect that. I mean, the first responders are traumatized. They're all traumatized who saw that. It's horrific what they saw. And you know what? I will tell you, I thought she used exercise bands. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like the flat ones you get in physical therapy or for yoga. They're flat bands. I was explaining them to Linda, because we have them all around. We have them tied to doorknobs and stuff. So you just grab them and you pull, and Jimmy has some shoulder exercises with them and stuff. But they're like flat bands, right? But what she used, I was traumatized when I saw what she used. Did you see what she used? All the time I'm thinking like anything would be horrible, but these bands look like, when they said exercise bands, they're like ropes, but they're made out of like rubber, like, the stretchy stuff, but it's not, it's very heavy duty stuff. It almost looks like ratcheting straps, kind of. It almost looks like they're bands like for a machine, an exercise machine to add tension. Do you know what I mean? They're really, really heavy duty. At first I thought it was a belt, because they did say something about there being a belt there. And they are not the flat type. They're horrendous looking. And it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I don't know what this lady did. Like, did she literally sit there pulling them on each child for about 4 minutes? I mean, I terrible. But yeah, everybody's traumatized by this case. I mean, everybody. It's horrendous. Yeah, I've never seen those types before, Ivy. All this time, I'm thinking they mean those either like those ones you get for PT or the yoga ones you use. I have not seen anything like that. It reminds me of, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Do you remember there used to be like an exercise trainer thing? I think it maybe was in the Jack LaLanne days, and it was like 3 cords or something, and then they had hand things, and they went out like this. Do you know what I'm talking about? Kind of reminds me like that, but they're just one. And she did it while for facing them according to how they were found lying. I don't know if she did. Yeah, she could have put them face down so she didn't have to see their face, or she could have turned them over after, but she could have put them face down. I don't want to say, I mean, because it would have also, we haven't heard from, okay, we haven't heard, and this is horrible, but we haven't heard about the autopsy. We don't know if those kids were fighting her, like the 5-year-old. If she was, like, if she bit her tongue or anything like that. We don't know anything, and it's horrible, but we're going to hear it about, we don't know. She didn't have enough time, like if someone wants to say, oh, maybe she gave them Benadryl or something, maybe, but she had to do this very quickly and face down so you don't see. But I wonder also face down, Debbie, to cut off the mouth and nose. I don't know. It's horrible to even think of. It's horrible that she did this, and why did she do this? And is this truly the psychosis, and she didn't know what she was doing? I don't know. This case is very, very, very disturbing. You look at Patrick, yeah, he could have gone on with his life, but he's never going to forget that, ever. None of them are going to forget that. Not the first responders, no one there. I don't even know, Debbie. I don't even know. I mean, I think we'll find out more with the autopsy, but it's just horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. And how did she do this? Like, when he left, Dawson was on the couch eating chicken nuggets and green beans from a bowl. None of the, I don't know if the kids, Cora was in pajamas and a robe. So when did Cora get in the pajamas and a robe? Was she like that after they came in from the snowman? What was the deal there? When did these kids get into those clothes they were wearing? How did she get them down there? Did she leave? They say that Dawson would have been the first one. So did she get him down first and leave the other two up there? Did she take, it's horrible. Cora's 5 years old. She looks so cold like ice. Yeah, she does try to show some emotion when they were like getting the clothes. She had to look away. She was holding the lawyer's hand. The fall, she broke all of her ribs, and vertebrae, and there'll be medical testimony as to what exactly she broke. the testimony of the first responders, some are saying there's blood coming down the siding, and that's what's having them think that she kind of held on to the railing and slid down. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. I can only say what they're saying. I don't know. None of us know, right? We don't know if there's blood there. There's blood there. Is the blood? What's the blood from? Did she come out? Did she hold on to the railing? I mean, I'm sure if she held on like this way, they would see her fingers that way. If she came out and she was holding on this way, they'd see the fingerprints there. A lot of them are calling the wounds on her superficial, whereas Linda thought that was a huge gash, very, very deep in her neck. Was it? We need to get the medical. I've heard both. I've heard Patrick say it was a red line on her neck and that he thought the wounds to her wrists were deep. It goes back and forth, and then I've heard the exact opposite. So I don't know. I think the prosecutor asked that question wasn't to show that Patrick had a clear memory. Since the third one was found in the office, it makes me feel like... No, because Ivy, they say that that's Dawson that was in the office, and they said that he was first. And if you listen to Patrick, when he talks about taking the bands off of Cora and Callan, when he goes to Dawson, he said when he saw Dawson, he knew Dawson was gone. So I think that would mean that Dawson's color was far worse. He said, I knew he was gone. And one of the first responders said something similar about Dawson, that he tried to turn his head and get a pulse, even though he knew from his experience that it's not good. It's not good. Went all over, and there was blood on the siding and stuff going down. I don't know. I'm just telling you what the first responders said. And then she was on the ground. And okay, so what did we we heard from first responders today. We heard from some that were doing a lot of CPR. One that was doing a lot of CPR and staying with Cora, trying to get Cora back, but she never regained a pulse or anything, but they said they never stopped doing it. And Dawson also, and then the baby had a faint pulse. One of the first responders said that, I guess it was with Dawson, that he when he picked him up, tried to run him to the ambulance, and he tried to hold him chest to chest. He said something fell like mucus or something out of his mouth onto him, and he was running, get out of the way, to get him to the ambulance. I mean, these people were traumatized. They this is horrendous. For them to have witnessed this, 3 children, right after Christmas, all of that. I'm not saying just because it's after Christmas, but I'm just saying it's a cold night. They're trying to desperately save these kids, and just such a horrific thing. The father, obviously, in terrible pain, wailing, screaming, crying, horrible screams they'll never forget. And then that whole scene, and then some of them talked about her, and one of them said that she kept pulling the mask off, and they hit her with Narcan. They didn't know what she could have taken or done, and I guess she tried to crush some pills up in some lemonade or something, but that didn't work, and like Patrick said yesterday, there was blood all over the bedroom. He said it looks like someone sprayed it from a hose, but yet there was no blood on the bedding, or she moved the bed from the wall, and then just terrible stuff. Okay, let me go back to hold on a second. I want to go and just go over and make sure that I hit all the points here. Okay. So there was 2 police officers. They focused first on Lindsay Clancy drifting in and out of consciousness. They talked about when they were cross-examined. I remember her lawyer asked, well, wasn't it cold out? What about hypothermia? Asked them things like that. Drifting in and out of consciousness in the snow after jumping from the home's window, or we don't know. We don't know that she jumped. We don't know if she slid. We don't know what she did because nobody saw her. Let's see, they say that Patrick was saying to the first responders, I can't wake them up, I can't get them up. Let's see here. Officers Stephen Hall and Brian Josephine testified. They were each dispatched separately to the house. And they found Patrick Clancy yelling from behind the home. When the officers followed the sound that they heard downstairs, they saw, that's when they saw the kids, right? Only 8-month-old Callan was able to get a faint pulse. But the other officer said, based on my training and experience from previous incidents, I knew it wasn't going to be good when they began rendering aid, and that was to Dawson. P.J. Husey, fire department supervisor, arrived in time to glimpse through the basement window as Patrick was unwrapping a band from his child's neck. He said it turned very chaotic very quickly. More ambulances rushed to the house. Let's see. Jennifer Stratton said... she said the infant never regained a pulse, they're saying here, but the infant was the only one that regained a pulse. Going back here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so the jury, like I said, they're going to go on a bus and told them to wear like sensible shoes and all of that because they're going to get off and on the bus. Stephen Hall said that Lindsay Clancy had cuts to both wrists and the left side of her neck, but they were not actively bleeding. He said she was in and out of consciousness. She would wake up, move around, and then kind of go still again. He was emotional as he was being shown photos of the basement at the Clancy's home and asked to describe finding the 3 children and then how he was called outside to be with Lindsay Clancy and how he saw blood marks on the open second-story window. And let's see, he went over to a paramedic and asked what he could help with. He said that Lindsay Clancy kept removing her oxygen mask. He kept putting it back on. Okay, and again, there was no cross-examination. The defense lawyer just thanked him for his service. Brian Josephine was the next one. He arrived. He saw Lindsay Clancy on the ground. Patrick standing over her. Let's see. Officer Hall arrived at around the same time. Let's see. He said Patrick turned to him, walked past him in an abrupt manner. Josephine said then they went to Lindsay Clancy and attempted to speak to her, but she only mumbled. He said he observed cuts to her wrist and neck and said they were bleeding but not profusely, and he did not believe the injuries were life-threatening to Lindsay Clancy. Let's see. Josephine said then he heard a noise in the house, and they started hearing loud screams, and they went through the sliding glass doors into the kitchen and headed towards the basement, and that's when they heard screaming as they made their way to the basement. And Patrick said, and it was screaming, she killed the expletive kids. And then they will be brought back in. Okay, hold on. Then the fire captain, PJ, took the stand. He looked through the basement window. He's the one that saw Patrick unwrapping the exercise band from the child's neck. And then retired Duxbury firefighter EMT Loring Chuck Nudd took the stand. He said that he responded in an ambulance around 6 p.m. He said when he was dispatched, he was not aware that any children were involved. He said there were other first responders on this scene. He saw a police officer carrying a child, and he was called to bring the child over to his stretcher. His face was blue. He had marks around his neck, and his body was pale. That was Dawson. Let's see. He was asked to drive the ambulance to local hospital in Plymouth with Dawson in the back. And then fire captain from Duxbury, Keith Nett, was testifying. He said it was normally his day off, but he was called out. And you know what? I saw that. I feel like I saw that. Where did I just see that? Maybe I saw an interview with him, because one of them said it was their day off, but they got a call, and I could swear he was on a street when he said that. Maybe I saw an old interview or something with him. Gosh, I'm having like such deja vu about that, or it's another case or something that's similar, that they were off and they were called in. So weird, or I'm just remembering it that way. But he said, yeah, it was his day off, and he drove up in his own personal truck and saw police and fire vehicles. He walked to the driveway to the back of the ambulance where he helped to treat Dawson Clancy. He said the child had no heartbeat. He said he observed dark red marks around Dawson's neck, and on the ride to the hospital, paramedics were never able to find a pulse or to restart Dawson's heart. While at the hospital, he saw another child arrive from the home, and he assisted in compressions as the child was taken out of the ambulance. He recalled seeing Patrick Clancy at the emergency room that night, visibly upset, and just basically visually upset. He said, noting that he got Patrick a chair in case he needed to sit. Reddington had no questions for him for Cross. Patrick Dwyer testified, the fourth firefighter of the day. He said he was working a 24-hour shift at the time of the incident at the Clancy house. He was working on a fire engine that responded to the scene. When he arrived, he said there were other firefighters already there. He and other firefighters walked towards the backyard where Lindsay Clancy was located, and then they were redirected to the basement. When they went down to the basement, they saw two children on the ground and their father sitting on a couch next to them. He said they started CPR because the children were in cardiac arrest. Dwyer said he began CPR on 5-year-old Cora while his partner attended to the other child. He said Cora did not have a pulse and was not breathing. She also had some blood in her mouth. He said Cora was rushed by ambulance to Beth Israel Plymouth and attempted unsuccessfully to revive her on the way. Then Jennifer Stratton, Duxbury firefighter paramedic, was testifying. She was one of the firefighters that responded to the Clancy home. She was in the engine with Dwyer. She pulled up to the address, saw their ambulance crew. They were walking to the back of the house. She said she saw a firefighter kneeling next to Lindsay in the dark and then heard a voice yelling that she should get into the basement. When she got down to the basement, she said she saw Callan and Cora Clancy face up on the ground. She immediately called for 2 additional ambulances and went to attend to 8-month-old Callan while Dwyer was with Cora. She said she did chest compressions and began delivering oxygen to the child, but those attempts were unsuccessful. She said that Callan had deep strangulation marks around the entire circumference of his neck. She said she carried Callan to the ambulance and accompanied him to the transport to the hospital. And I remember she was talking about how she took off his sleeper, and they were telling her like how she put her hands around his back and how she had to do compressions that were different because they were for a younger child. Then Pembroke firefighter and paramedic Robert Costanzo testified. He was working an overtime shift. He arrived and said Lindsay Clancy was on the ground. She was being attended to by the paramedics. She already had a collar on her neck, and she was secured in a long backboard. He said her wrists had been bandaged and there was no active bleeding visible. He's the one says she had what he described as superficial lacerations around her neck. Costanza said she was breathing but not responsive other than some moaning and groaning. He said he administered the Narcan to Lindsay in the ambulance, but she did not wake up. And then Reddington asked a couple of questions about Narcan, and Costanzo clarified that Clancy began to become a bit more active after the Narcan was administered. Then he asked him, now, did you know, sir, at all that she suffered a burst fracture of her cervical spine? He said no. He said it was pretty dark out there, wasn't it? Costanza agreed it was. Costanza said he was there for about 7 minutes in the backyard and agreed with Reddington that it was a pretty chaotic scene. Reddington questioned whether Costanza could see the injuries on Lindsay Clancy's neck through the bandages that had been applied. Let's see here. Then Vincent Cahill, a Duxbury officer, got on the stand, and he said that he got out to the call, found a police cruiser, an ambulance, and a fire captain already at the scene. He saw Lindsay Clancy outside the home being treated. He heard loud screaming coming from the basement. He went to the basement. He found Patrick Clancy. He was screaming. Cahill said he saw 2 children on the floor in the area of the basement, checked the pulse of the girl, and passed that information along, and then he backed away, and then he said he bumped into the baby. So he checked the infant's pulse, but he didn't have a pulse. At that point, firefighters took over the care of Callan as well. He got some equipment for the children and brought it to the basement, where he assisted with rescue breaths and CPR on Cora, but she never regained a pulse. Cahill was later tasked with monitoring who came into and out of the crime scene that night, and they showed his log there. Reddington had no questions. The judge said that there were a couple of issues that still need to be hammered out, so he excused the jury for the day. Again, they're expected to return 9 a.m. Friday, and they're going to go out for a jury view where they're going to see several areas of the house. Now, I don't know if they're going to bring us along for that. I have no idea. Usually, but we'll see. Oh, why am I getting the hiccups here? So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Ring cameras for what, Jen? To see what? You think that they would see her in the back of her house? This happened around 6 p.m., I believe it was, Ivy. Let's see here. Cleaning. Oh, you're cleaning. Okay. Let's see. You heard it as you fell asleep last night. The Moscow chief was called in. You heard it as you fell asleep. The Moscow chief was called in, and he was not on. Oh my gosh, that might be what it was. You are absolutely right, Debbie. You're absolutely right. Oh my gosh, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Okay, well that makes me feel better. Okay, I was listening to that then. All right. Great. Hi Ari, how are you? You're listening. Oh, you have cleaning to do. Oh, thank you, Ari. Uh-oh, wait a minute. We got memberships? Hold on. Wait, I didn't see this. Planet. Wow, Planet Damnation. And I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. And you get gifted 5 memberships. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Let me play you the membership song. Okay, so if you got a membership from Planet Damnation, give Planet Damnation a high five and a thank you. Let's see who got it. Little Treasures by Nancy. Yay, Little Treasures. I think she does miniatures. Great, Little Treasures. And we've got Sis Nero Medina. You got a free membership there. And Stace on the Case. Oh my gosh, Stace on the Case. I haven't seen you in a long time, girl. You got a membership. That Pretty Mess. You got a membership. And Chevy Bulls, you got a membership. Great. Thank you for the 5 memberships there, Planet. Let me play you a song here. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. That's great. Thank you so much. Let me go over here. Oh, I can just put in here and pull it up. Here we go.
Hey there, Rambler, pull up a chair. You're part of the family, loves everywhere. From late night laughter, stories that matter. We ramble together, it's perfectly scattered. Welcome, welcome, Ramblers Unite, Ramblers Unite. Ooh, ooh. Different levels, same heart, shining bright. Thank you for the love, for the time that you bring. Mommy Ramblings grows because of everything.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. That was really appreciated. And yeah, Ivy, are you on the West Coast? Because yeah, over here, like in Massachusetts and stuff, in New York, we have daylight savings time. And it's dark. It gets dark like at 4:30 in the winter. So by 6, it's dark. And it was a dark, cold night. A dark, cold night, yes. Wow, that was not really nice, Planet Damnation. Thank you. I hope you're still here to hear your thank you. I'm sorry that I don't know why it doesn't play the like the chime that used to alert me. Let me make sure Planet Damnation is here. I don't know if they're still here. I think. Hold on a second. I hope you're still here. Okay. So, yeah. So what does everybody think at this point? I know it's still way early. And, oh, thank you, Scooter. I know it's still way early, but what do you feel? What are you feeling about this case? What do you think? Just now, okay. I'm not. Oh, thanks, Avi. What do you think about that? How do you feel about her? Just put in a couple of words. How are you feeling? Are you? I did not ignore your comment. I said thank you for thanking her. You're bad. Yes. You are bad. How do you feel, Scooter? You say she looks as cold as ice. How do you feel about her? You always go the opposite of everybody usually. So what do you think? What do you think? You're leaning towards mental condition caused it. But, okay. You're believing her? When you say you believe her, what do you mean by that, Ivy? You think that she heard a voice and she had no control? Is that what you mean? I don't know. I have to tell you that I don't know, because there are only didn't we read that there are like only 2 cases where someone would be the postpartum psychosis? I don't know. You're welcome. Most of the time you're driving. Oh, I got you. I don't think you're rude. I would never say you're rude, Planet Damnation. You're so nice. You're always supporting the channel. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. No, I don't think you're rude. I didn't want you to think I was rude because I took me a long time to thank you. That's what I'm saying. I thought that you thought I was rude. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a hard case. I don't know. I don't know enough yet. I mean, it's such a hard case. It really is. She really wasn't taking a lot of medication because almost all of her medication is there. I don't know. It's very, very, I'm glad I'm not on the jury. I don't want to be on the jury in this one. Not at all. Not at all. You started out 50-50. You may be 60-40. That you feel that she's not being truthful with this whole thing. Sorry, I'm not feeling it. It's okay. You don't have to be sorry for how you feel. Everybody's entitled to feel how they feel. I don't know what actually. Something resonated. You see no remorse, no regret, no real sadness. Somebody said something that resonated with me. Like, okay, what was what was she going to get out of this? Like, okay, with people that kill their kids, right? Like Susan Smith, right? She didn't go to kill herself because she wanted to kill her kids to move on with her life with that guy that didn't want kids, right? When Chris Watts killed his wife and kids, he wanted to move on with someone else that didn't want any other kids and didn't, right? She wanted to have the firsts and all that. So we can see what, like, those people tended to gain. Now, her and her husband were not in any kind of discord that we know of, right? They're not in some kind of custody battle where she's doing this like we've seen these parents do it to spite the other parent. It's crazy. So we don't see anything like that, right? But what was she do? Okay, if she's a nurse, did she believe that fall was going to kill her? Because if it didn't kill her, am I making any sense to you? Because someone said this, and I think this kind of had me change how I felt a little bit, because it makes you think, okay, that she really wanted to kill herself and go with her children. But is it just that she didn't or couldn't go through with it? It was too painful, what she was trying with the cuts, and I'm just going to say it like that, with the cuts. I think she put medication in a glass. Obviously, she could not have drugged herself before she did what she did with the kids, right? Because she wouldn't have been able to do all this. She would have been incapacitated. But was there not a way for her to do that? So was that all, like, did she have a plan for herself? And the plan was, I'll take the medication, but then the medication didn't knock her out and he was coming back. Maybe that's when he called her. And then she was like, oh my gosh, is that when she tried the cutting and couldn't do that because of the pain? Or something. And then what is the next thing? The next thing is that window thing just, oh my gosh, I'll just throw myself out the window? Or did she, I don't know. I mean, listen. What she did with those bands, they also found a belt. Jen must have fallen asleep. Oh no, I'm sorry, Ivy. Hold on. Jen is sleep modding again. Hang on. Pull her back in. Hold on. Sorry, Ivy. Ivy, you're still here. Jen sometimes sleep mods. And she hit you out, but I got you back in. But it deleted your comments, Ivy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I'll read your comments because I can still see them. Hold on, let me see. It says, yes, it's like, what was her end game? Why would she do this? Right, Ivy? Like, what is this? That makes it sound to me that she wanted to take her life successfully. And at that point, but then what about if she was not in a psychosis or just wanted to do that? Well, did she think about Patrick and how horrible that will be for him? You think she is not guilty due to diminished capacity? I believe she was experiencing psychosis. There was no method to her madness, which is why it was true madness. Yeah, that's the one thing that has given me pause, Ivy. Oh, good, thank you. That's the one thing that has given me pause. Somebody's got to wake Jen up and tell her she's sleep modding. Not just, oh, you're there. Okay. You're sleep modding again. Yeah. That's the one thing, Ivy, that's really given me a pause in this, because what did she do this? What she really didn't, it makes you think she really didn't think this through very clearly or for a long time or have the plan. It's okay, Jen, just thanks. Ivy still likes us. I don't know. Is there any truth to the rumors? No, I don't think so. You know, for 1 second when he said he went to the city for 2 days in November, I thought, oh, why'd you go to the city? No, he didn't say to the city. He said New York. We don't know that it was New York City. Could have been Buffalo. Could have been Albany. We don't know. He said New York. But for a split second, I got a little bit of a, I hope you're, because like all these people are carrying on in the chat saying that he was having an affair, yada, 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 yada. But we've never heard that. We've never heard that. And I think by now we would have heard that. So we only hear that from people that are in these chats sometimes. But the thing is, I don't know, he just doesn't look like, if you look at the pictures, he seems very, like he just, you know, he was just happy being there with the kids. He'd go skiing with Cora, or he'd go somewhere with Dawson, or he'd go with all of them. I don't know, and I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but if she was trying to take her life, and what I mean to say, and they said that there was a belt or something downstairs, if she was all about these bands and stuff, isn't there something she could have done that would have made her, I don't know, that would have been different than going out of a second story window that is not very high off the ground? That's the one thing that gives me pause, because if it was like you told me she did this and then she pretended it was a home invasion, like Darlie Routier, or she did this and ran off and pretended she was abducted or something, that is like totally different to me than her trying to do this. I don't know. Carolyn, I can get on sometimes and sometimes I can't. I tried to pay, but they are asking me all kinds of questions. What? Who's asking you all kinds of questions? She also had plenty of medication. Yes, but how quickly would it have worked, Ivy? How quickly would it have worked? You wish you'd win a membership one time? I don't know, how quickly would that work? And I just don't understand. Did she maybe get tripped up with how long things were taking? It shouldn't ask you any questions, though, Bink. It should just do your Google Wallet or something. How does it work, Scooter? I don't know about, just very strange. That's the one thing about this whole thing. That one thing. And but though when I told it, I think to Linda said that didn't make any difference to her or something. I don't know what I forget what Linda said. I think Linda doesn't, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Linda. Linda can speak for herself. She would have taken her medication before. Yeah, but what if she would have thought she would not have been coherent and then wouldn't have been successful with that? That was so awful today, the testimony. Yeah. So Debbie says the only question it asked Binky is what level membership do you want? I don't know. I don't know. This is a very weird case. I wish she would just, don't you wish she would just say what the hell she was thinking? Like, what the hell, what were you doing with that? Like, I don't know. Did you think that, because it's weird, and then she's sitting there in the court and like, don't you just feel like when these people are coming up, especially like with the woman that She's thinking, my gosh, this woman is almost my age. I threw my entire life away. I threw my kids' lives away. I threw my marriage away. I threw her life away. Okay? You think about somebody that went through school, college, nursing, the career, 3 pregnancies, 3 births, all of that, to just erase it like that. And now her children are gone. She survived, but not in a good way, right? Her body is not whole. She is paralyzed. She is facing either life in an institution or life in prison. Her husband, she has to watch him on the stage, on the stand, and think, my gosh, I love this man. We had 3 kids together. We had these plans together. Now he's moving on. He's got a wife. He's got another child. He's moving on, right? What the hell? Right? If she was in her right mind now, she'd be saying, what the hell did I do? And she never denied doing it, right? It was just that she wasn't in her right mind. She's not criminally responsible. But what has that got to feel like now? That's what I'm saying. And when he was getting with that other person, which was that February, that's the exact time her father was asking Patrick to call her and say, because she wasn't doing well. Now, was it she all not doing well because she found out Patrick is with someone else? Is that why? But then the other thing is, and there was another thing. Let me see what I had. Oh my gosh, what was the other thing I was going to tell you? Oh, remember about how when it came out, it said, Patrick is standing behind her. Patrick wants you to forgive her. Patrick. And then we find out Patrick didn't talk to her for about a week. And then he said she didn't talk about the kids at all. She talked about what she went through. I was sensing a little bit of animosity from him in that. I was, when he was on the stand saying that. And then I was like, this is, no, she's not out on bail. She's in a mental institution, Debbie. She's in a psychiatric institution. What was I going to say? I just think like maybe somebody just told him to stay. Because I remember, wasn't it Andrea Yates' husband that came out and said to him, stand by your wife and all that stuff? I don't think. That's not Debbie D. No. No. It's not Debbie D. It has to be just below the surface. But I was talking to somebody recently, and I'm like, how could you, just terrible. I don't know. It's a very crazy, tragic, insane, heart-wrenching case. Rusty supported Andrea too, but he also got remarried, yes, and divorced. and divorced, and he still speaks with Andrea and says that he talks to her all the time, and I think he said something to the effect that she's the only person that he can really be himself with, or something to that effect about Andrea, something like that. His animosity. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because sounded just like it was. I don't know. I don't know. People want to talk about mental health. They want to talk about medications. They want to talk about not getting the right treatment. Everybody's putting like their own spin on everything, right? But she wasn't taking the medications that they were giving her. She wasn't taking them. They were saying how many pills were left in each bottle. So they're making it think it's not medication over medication, as these lawsuits suggest. I don't know. She said she thought she was getting addicted to benzodiazepines. I mean, I don't know. It's a very, very... I don't get it, though. It's crazy. Well, I have to take 2 ibuprofen. I'm getting a headache, and I want to get it before it gets me. Hold on a minute. I'll be right there. But yeah, think about that. What was the end result? So then I think for her to do that, she really had to be wanting to take her own life. But did she think that would take her own life? Was there a reason? Like, I wish she would just say, look, I tried to do something this way. I tried to do it that way. It didn't work. And then taking myself out of that window was a last-ditch effort. I really wasn't thinking it through. I wish she would just talk, you know? I hope she takes the stand. I don't understand, really. I really don't get what... I don't know. You know? I don't know. Excuse me. Hang on a sec. Hang on a second, please. Oh, Luke loves to change the ice to chilled water. Okay. Hold on, I'm coming. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, back. I'm back. Okay, you said oftentimes people that are in the midst of a psychosis are afraid to take medications or don't trust medications. Sounds like she was in the midst of a terrible battle. And Bink says, all I know is there was some reason she would get those pills. I agree, Ivy, says Debbie. I agree, Ivy. It's because they're so strong. You just took some ibuprofen too. Good. The verdict will be the type of confinement, but how can that happen without a clear motive? The verdict will be the type of confinement, right? Whether it will be in a prison or in a mental institution is what you mean. But how can that happen without a clear motive why she did this? Well, they're saying that it was to take the children and herself out of the picture. But why? Okay, because the voice said it. The voice said this was her last chance, and she didn't give any thought to what this would do to the, to that she took the children's lives. Number one, these innocent children that you brought into this world, but that Patrick would be left with this unbelievable loss, right? Of his entire family. And I saw it tonight, and Vinnie Politan said it. Vinnie Politan said, look at Patrick going down the aisle of CVS. Look at Patrick picking up his dinner. Patrick's whole world is being turned on its end while he's doing this very, very mundane task, picking up dinner and picking up medication, and even calling Lindsay because he couldn't find the right medication or to check if it was the right thing. And while he is doing this, and you look at him, right? Calm. He's on his phone at one time. Not a care in the world. Now, yeah, obviously they have things with Lindsay, but she said she was having a good day. To know at that time that she was killing their children, right? You just don't know from one minute to the next. In Massachusetts. I don't know what that would look like, Debbie, about cured or whatever. I don't know what that would look like. Let's see if I can find that out about what she would be facing if she is in a mental institution. I don't think they're going to send her to prison. I think she's going to be sent to the mental institution, unless some really damning testimony comes from someone else. I don't know. Okay, so what happens if she's found not guilty or not criminally responsible? she would enter a separate court-supervised process involving psychiatric evaluations, mental health experts, and possible long-term hospitalization. That's according to Margaret McLean, host of the Margaret McLean Show. Wonder, did that ever have to do anything with McLean Hospital? Massachusetts law requires several steps to determine whether someone found not criminally responsible can safely be released back into the community. Massachusetts law does not simply allow her to walk free. Her case would be shifted to a structured civil commitment process overseen by both the court and numerous mental health experts. Following the verdict, a judge would first order an evaluation period of up to 40 days at a state mental health facility, where clinicians would assess her mental health and potential risks to the community. After the initial evaluation period, a judge would hold a hearing to determine whether Clancy remains mentally ill and whether she presents a danger to public safety. If that standard is met, she could be committed for up to 6 months at a secure psychiatric facility. Unlike a prison sentence, a not guilty by reason of insanity commitment has no maximum end date. If Clancy's severe mental illness is deemed chronic and dangerous, she can legally remain institutionalized for the rest of her life. Once the initial commitment expires, the state would have to return to court to seek continued hospitalization. Each year, officials would need to prove that Clancy still requires involuntary treatment. If she were eventually approved for release, it would likely come with strict court-ordered conditions, including mental health monitoring, supervised housing, medication compliance, and immediate intervention if doctors believed her condition was worsening. Well, I feel like someone here is trying to say what I was trying to say. What does the prosecution think Lindsay would gain if this was planned? And they said, I feel like the prosecution in one breath are saying that she never planned to survive the suicide attempt. I think she said something to the effect of this in her opening statement. But then saying she had shallow cuts and only jumped a short distance, which would imply that she didn't actually want to die. I feel like they might need to pick a side because it seems disorganized and there's no clear motive or gain for Lindsay if she survived a fake attempt. I'm just not seeing a clear trajectory as to where the prosecution is going with this case. Okay, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Someone said, I don't think she planned it. But I also think she went into an absolute rage that night. Someone said, I think so too. What would have put her in a rage? What would have put her in a rage? I don't think she was in a rage. If that's true, then they need to pick a side. My feed cut out a lot, so I didn't see that for myself. I don't think anyone is denying that Lindsay is sick. I would argue that every single person that can take an innocent life is disturbed. That doesn't mean they didn't know right from wrong, and it's very clear to me that Lindsay knew. She planned and she knew. She had opportunities to stop and she didn't. This person says your second paragraph sums it up well. Someone else on another thread commented a theory on this. I believe the theory was that Lindsay Clancy was deeply upset and resentful with the trajectory of her life. The fantasy of being married with children was not some amazing fairy tale she thought it would be. The only way in her mind she could get her life back, but Now, this doesn't. Was if she was no longer a parent, so she killed the children and made a fake suicide attempt to gain sympathy and support from Patrick. And once the children were gone, her and Patrick could go back to normal. She would have assumed that Patrick loved her so deeply that he couldn't possibly leave her. Seems really insane when you type it out, but people are insane, so who the heck knows? I don't agree with that at all. Somebody else told me that in a Zoom or something. I don't believe that at all. I think they did, if I'm not mistaken again. I don't think they're saying that's the motive. I think it's more that she wanted out and felt that she had the right to take her children with her. That's what I'm thinking. Because I just don't see. But I think that something got messed up at the end. Someone says that logically makes no sense. How does she have a marriage after her children are gone, or her freedom? Even if she's found not guilty by reason of insanity, she's staying in the state hospital. She's not free. The only logical explanation for any of this is that she was very sick and didn't plan to outlive the kids like she did. There's just no motive. Yeah, I do believe that. I don't see any other way. That I just don't see. I have no idea. I was just simply restating someone's theory. Anyone who is experiencing suicidal ideation or homicidal ideation is clearly not thinking rationally. I don't know what she thought was going to happen when she did what she did. That would indeed be insane, which is exactly why the prosecution doesn't want it. Okay, let's see here. Someone said the prosecution already knows. They said she's a Looney Tunes. Normal people don't kill, especially their kids. The question is, was she aware that she was doing something wrong? Apparently the children were found face down, and that tells me she felt guilt and couldn't bring herself to look at them. Those poor kids. But yeah, I agree. They were found face down. It does imply an element of guilt within her, perhaps shame as well, that she couldn't look them in the eye. She picked up the phone and had a normal conversation during the plan to kill them. That is psychotic. The question isn't whether she's insane. Most murderers are. The question is whether she was aware of her actions and had an understanding of right versus wrong. Oh my gosh, somebody just said something about Chris Watts. That's so wrong. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. This is actually not the basis for being found criminally responsible in Massachusetts. Massachusetts does not follow the McNaughton rule like most states. In Massachusetts, the law is much broader, and it allows for the defendant to be found not criminally responsible if the jury feels her mental disease or her defect was severe enough to impede her ability to follow the law. This is why I think the defense is using the specific wording that they're using. They're saying the voice was like a force that compelled her to kill the kids. They even thought she knew it was wrong and purposely got Patrick out of the house but couldn't stop herself. So in most states, complete psychosis is the only way to prove insanity, but not in Massachusetts. Also, if the jury finds her not criminally responsible by mental disease or defect, she will possibly go home because her state of mental disease was temporary and is past. She may be recovered at this point and can go home. She is not required to fulfill a full sentence in a mental hospital. All that being said, I think she has a fair chance of being found not criminally responsible per the Massachusetts law. Okay, so someone said, this is broadly incorrect. You're overstating what Massachusetts law actually says. Yes, Massachusetts follows the McHall-Alley standard, which includes both a cognitive prong and a volitional prong, but neither prong is satisfied simply because someone claims they felt compelled by a voice. The law requires that because of a mental disease or defect, the defendant lacks substantial capacity either to appreciate the wrongfulness of her conduct or to confirm her conduct to the law. That's a very high legal standard and congruent with my original statement. Evidence of planning and purposeful behavior is highly relevant to both prongs. If she understood what she was doing, took steps to carry it out, and acted in ways that suggests she knew the acts were wrong, a jury can reasonably conclude that she retained substantial capacity despite having a mental illness. Also, your statement that she'd possibly go home if found not criminally responsible is misleading. A not criminally responsible verdict results in commitment to a secure psychiatric hospital, and release is only possible after judicial review and findings that the person no longer poses a danger. It is not an automatic or immediate outcome. Okay. And now they're going to go back and forth, these two people. Can't do it. Okay. Let's see. She had anxiety about leaving the kids with other people, but Cora and Dawson were in preschool 4 days a week, had various babysitters and nannies over the years. It seems like she was more anxious about leaving them as babies. I think she struggled with the kids more as they grew, as detailed in her phone journal. But she also talked a lot about struggling to leave them as infants going back to work. She called the cops for a wellness check on Patrick when he didn't answer the phone, and she saw Cora crying on the baby monitor. I'm not saying it all makes sense, because obviously none of it makes sense. I'm just pointing out that particular theory really doesn't make sense to me, but I don't think anything ever will. This makes no sense. Her suicide attempt resulted in a major permanent injury. It wasn't a short drop into a nice fluffy snowbank. Perhaps she did not realize she would get hurt and end up permanently injured. I doubt it. She only jumped a short distance and is paralyzed for life. The argument this wasn't a real attempt is flat out stupid. Both could be true. Leading up to the incident, she could have been thinking she'd kill herself after the kids, but when it came down to it, she just couldn't do it. Her will to survive was strong. It doesn't make her look good when she didn't have any issue taking her children out. I think that is exactly it. Self-preservation for herself. She didn't have it for her kids. I would believe psychosis more. See, this woman says exactly what I am. If she had tried to hang herself with another band, right? It's suspect the voice told her to harm the children so violently, but much less violent towards herself. They believe this was intended to be a murder-suicide, and for whatever reason, she was unable to follow through with taking her own life. It was never her plan to live and be held accountable for the deaths of her children. Unfortunately, this does happen. And it does not make her not criminally responsible. It makes her the perpetrator of a filicide. She saw the kids as extensions of herself and decided that because she wanted to die, they needed to go with her. The fact that she had her best day ever on January 24th is a blaring red flag for this, along with seeming better after her brief stay at McLean. In my opinion, she had decided this was ultimately what she was going to do. It's kind of what I feel too. I think it's the only thing that makes sense. It's not about personal gain. It's about a mens rea, a moment of psychosis versus depressed mother knowingly committing a murder-suicide. I think pointing out how brutally she killed the kids and then, frankly, chickened out on her taking her life compared to what she did to her children emphasizes that element of psychosis in question was not actually strong enough to override her sense of self-preservation, which is unusual if you're psychotic enough to commit a triple homicide in the first place. Okay, so I think that's where I'm at. I do think that's where I'm at. I don't think that she didn't know this was wrong. I think she knew this was wrong, but she wasn't going to leave the kids and take her own life. She was going to take the kids because she felt they were her. She brought them in this world and everything, and she didn't want to leave them here without her. And I just don't think she thought it through to her part of leaving. And then it was panic and chaos and a bunch of things, none of which worked. And then she's left with that. And I think that maybe why when she woke up, she said, and I'm surprised they didn't say it in opening statements, do I need a lawyer? Do I need a lawyer? Yeah. Someone says I was there too because she said in one statement Lindsay did this because she's controlling and wanted to die, but no one would be able to take care of the kids the way she wanted them cared for, but then undermined herself by saying it was this fake suicide attempt. It's a conflicting narrative that adds fuel to Reddington's claim that the DA can fabricate any narrative they want for a witch hunt. I don't know. Someone said, what did they say here? Seeing people excuse Lindsay Clancy's action because of mental illness is insane, they say. They said they decided to dome scroll this case, and I keep seeing people say that because she had PPP and because mental health professionals failed her, she deserves empathy. I keep seeing this over and over, and it's honestly annoying. A lot of killers have severe mental illnesses that you could argue are objectively worse, yet people still call them monsters instead of defending them. Now, I'm not saying those factors couldn't have saved those babies' lives or even hers if she had gotten the right help. But the fact that the people are blaming the husband, who was literally gone for only 25 minutes to pick up his wife's medication and food for the family, it was the daughter's medication, is ridiculous. Another thing I've noticed is that a lot of people are defending her, especially that some self-described feminists seem to blame everything on the man instead of holding the woman accountable for literally strangling 3 of her kids. And probably the most annoying claim of all is the completely false narrative that he remarried immediately after the children's deaths. That's simply not true. There's so much misinformation surrounding this case. It's honestly a relief that these message boards seem to be one of a few places where people are not defending her. Isn't the father himself on her side claiming it was mental illness as well, though? Okay. It's not about fault. It's about a series of events that led up to the murder. He is not at fault for their deaths. Okay, let's see what you're saying now. See if anybody's changing. There's Heart Made Wise. Hi, Heart Made Wise. Okay, let's see what we've got. I think it is likely that the seesaw of the brain chemicals going on in her head from the irregular psychiatric meds taken could have had a very negative and detrimental effect on her state of mind. Why is she still alive now then? Her life is 20 times worse now, but yet she lives. Well, she's observed. Like, how is she going to take her life? You know, she's being observed and she's paralyzed now, right? Binky, what? He wasn't with the other girl. He wasn't with another woman, Binky. You said if she told her husband she felt like she was losing him. She never said that. Because he said, if you're threatening to hurt or kill her kids, I'm leaving with the kids. He never said that. But then she's seen he wanted the other girl. No. Binky, you got it wrong. He wasn't with another woman. No. All wrong. That's not what happened at all. Let's see. If she's found not guilty by reason of insanity and she's not, she will go to the mental facility but will be released upon the doctor saying she's no longer in danger. What if she's still alive now then? Her life is 20 times. Okay, we've got through that Ivy Speed. I think she could get out of here now. She probably would. Okay, yeah, that's how I kind of am. Do I think she, now it's like, do I think she didn't know that it was wrong? I think she knew it was wrong to kill the kids. But I think she thought she was going to do it with herself. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know. It's a very, very hard case. It's a really, really hard case. I don't know. Where'd Scooter go? She already left? My gosh, Scooter. For real? If anybody wants to call in, you're welcome to call in and talk about it. I can't believe you left, Scooter. That's not right. All she wants to watch is monkeys. You think if she could get out of here, she probably would. Okay. What time is it? 2:12? 2:12. And all is well. 2:12 and all is well. So I don't know. I know, right? Right, Debbie? I know. I'll get you a link. They're great. I didn't even know what one was until I was there. Then I started. Okay. So sorry, I won't do that to bother you until I get you the link. I thought there was a way they told us that we could tag our live streams with the product. Probably is, and I just don't have it yet. So I don't know. Does everybody think, okay, how many people think she didn't intend to survive after the kids? If you think she didn't intend to survive after the children, put a 1. Just put a 1. If you think she didn't intend to survive after the children. Oh, Planet says, the more I think about the case, the dumber I feel. Don't feel dumb. I can't form a clear opinion. Either can I. Either can a lot of people. Either can a lot of people. So Hart doesn't think she intended to outlive the children. And Debbie doesn't think she intended to outlive the children. From what I know at this point, I don't think she intended to outlive the children. I just don't see where she was going with this. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that there would have been any other way. I think something happened, though, and for some reason, either the time, perhaps she had thought she had time to take a bunch of pills, I don't know, lay down, and then started to get nervous. Maybe he called. She thought they'd get to her, like I'm saying, and they'd revive her somehow. So she didn't want to be revived. So then she tried to do the slicing, and that didn't work. And then last ditch effort was the window. I don't know. I really don't. I don't. At this point, I'm going to have to go with the one. At this point right now, I just don't see where this was going. We're trying to apply logic to somebody that was in psychosis. Yeah, Ivy, I don't know. I don't know if it's so much, could be, or it could be something else. I don't know. I have to hear more. I do think at this point they're just going to commit her, find her not guilty, criminally responsible. I don't know. Could be a shocker. I don't know. I don't know. It's a very odd case. Usually I'm pretty clear on, at least whether I think somebody is this, that, or the other thing, but it's just not clear in this case. It's not. And I don't know. I don't know. It's a very upsetting case. Now, tomorrow they're going to go on this field trip. I'm trying to think. Remember when they went on didn't they go on a field trip, or maybe I'm wrong. Did they go on a field trip to Brian Walsh's house in Massachusetts? The guy, remember him? His wife was working. She was an executive. He got caught in some crazy art deal, and he was already on house arrest for that. They have 3 little boys, and she didn't make it back to Washington, D.C. She was having an affair, but he killed her and dismembered her. Remember? They went to his house. There was a lot of stains that looked like blood, and they weren't blood, which I thought was strange. But the jury went to this house, but I don't think we saw when they went to his house. So I don't know what happens to us when they go to Duxbury. I don't know. I forget. And when they took the jurors to Moselle in Murdaugh, did we go to Moselle? I don't think we did. So it's very possible it'll just be in recess for that time. Your mom's gone in and out of Alzheimer's, psychosis. It's absolutely a tragedy. Yes, it is, Ivy. 3 little kids lost their lives. A whole family was destroyed. Of course, yeah, it's a horrible tragedy. They showed us, though? I don't remember them showing us, though, Debbie. I don't think they took us along. I think we heard about it, but I don't think they took us along. We didn't see the viewing of Darrell Brooks' KR either. Okay, so yeah, we probably won't get to go along either. They won't take us. Yeah, they did go to Moselle, but they didn't take us along. We just got to hear about it. So, yeah, they're not going to take us on that field trip, I'm sure. They'll just show the seal of the court, and then the judge will say, "We're going to break for the day. We'll see you Monday morning." I know why this trial is going to take so long, because it's just, I can't believe tomorrow's the last day of July. It's so sad, so sad. The staircase? What staircase? What case are you talking about, Debbie? What staircase? We read all about it in Becky Hill's book. Crazy, Becky Hill. I read The Housekeeper's book. That was a good book. I actually have some members-only videos on it if you want to look at that. Blanca. So what do you say? Oh, I did watch The Staircase. I thought you meant I thought you meant that we were really watching a case where but that was behind the scenes kind of stuff. That wasn't, you know. How come they didn't mention the part where she woke up and said, "Do I need a lawyer?" That's another thing that has me a little bit. That has me thinking that she really knew this was all wrong, but she wanted to take herself out, but then knew that she didn't die, and now does she need a lawyer? I don't know. Yeah, The Staircase is very good, with the owl and the feather. We watched that. We actually did watch that in a Zoom quite some time ago. Maybe 2-3 years ago. Where the heck are you guys? I can't believe Scooter just leaves like that. How rude. How rude, Scooter. How rude. How rude. How rude. I'm getting sleepy. It took a lot out of me. I had like some big days. Oh, let's see. It's been so rainy. I haven't been able to swim. I thought I was going to swim today, and then every time I was going to go, it looked like I was going to thunderstorm. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll go for a walk. Boom! Just another thunderstorm. Come on. Okay. What did you got? I didn't even look at you. Former? Oh, informers. Huh. Very good. 4, I think I got that right. Yep. More, got that. Rose. Okay, I didn't have that. From, I have that. What do you have there? More, I got that. Oh, wait a minute. Morse, right? Hold on a minute. No? You have nope. Okay, foes, foe, I got that. Row, I got that. Okay. Oh, or. Got that now. All right, what do we have here? I just tried that, didn't work. Oh, wait, no, can't do that. Soar. Very good, Heart. Very good. I don't want to see July complete. No, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Oh my gosh, stop. Stop it. Oh my gosh, you guys. think I have to go to bed. I'm so tired. I don't know. I'm just so freaking tired. I have to go to bed. Oh, what are you lying about? What are you lying about? Hobbyist? Let's see. Did you get that right? That sounds good. Very good. Yay. 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 Oh. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a night. I am so exhausted. Thank you again, Planet Damnation, for the gifted memberships. That was really, really sweet of you. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you to all of you for hanging with me. Thank you to all of our moderators for all that you do. Thank you for all of the people that watch us on the replay. We really appreciate you. Thank you for those of you that come live and watch us and hang with us as long as you can. Appreciate that. And all of you that are members and Patreons and support the channel, I appreciate that. And appreciate all of you for being here with us, with me, through it all. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know, and love you. God bless. Prayers that you're all well and stay well, and if you're going through something, that it goes past and you come out on the other side. Wonderful. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Be safe, stay well, and I'll talk to you then. Good night. I love you.